Secrets hidden in plain sight. Powers that move the world in the shadows. Questions no one dares to answer. Step beyond the Matrix. Subscribe.
Did you see the thing on the nail changing thing?
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you
yeah,
hear
yeah.
about that?
We got to ask you about that.
Gotta ask you about that. There's this new technology by a company called iPolish, and they can change your nails.
So that thing was at CES, right? So that's the biggest electronic convention pretty much on earth. And they had that thing where they displayed it. And what it does is take this little module, put it on your finger, and it changes the color to whatever color you want. It's digital fingernail. So they had this, going back to the movies.
It's always in the movie.
They had this in 2 movies. Have you ever seen Total Recall?
I have. It's
the old one.
Yeah, the old one. Yeah, I've seen it.
So they had that in the movie where the girl is touching her fingernails and then changing her color.
So what does this look like?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the movie. That's not the thing I just showed you.
Okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
They had these inventions like a long time ago, or
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. Because not only in that movie, but also in The Fifth Element. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, love them.
So that was in The Fifth Element. But now they have these digital fingernails to where you can change the color at any time.
Okay, so hear me out. There's two things. There's either A, this stuff existed that long ago and it was like for some reason hidden technology, or somebody who's just smart was like watching Total Recall, like, damn, you know what? We can make that now.
Yeah.
In 2025, this is something we can make.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, let's make it even look like it from the movie. Like, so then there's like that, you know?
That's good marketing.
It could be.
Good marketing.
But you know what's funny too? Even the iPhone was predicted. Did you know that?
Well, that one is more like, I mean, like even you watch the Jetsons as a kid and they like have like little, where it's almost like FaceTime.
FaceTime.
Thing, you
Yeah.
know?
That was it.
I think that it's just like, these are obviously like ideas that somebody thought like before it was even possible. Like, oh my God, that would be so cool. And then it's these like really smart people who are like, you know, into technology, scientists, whatever, who are like, okay, let me try to actually make this happen. So I think that's just what it is like the ideas I think are like, you know, unrealistic at first, but then they just
actually happen. Yeah, because with the iPhone, there's a movie, I believe it was in 95, called Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves. And there's this one scene where he's looking for stuff and he's asking the girl, hey, I need this, I need that, blah, blah, blah. Then he says, hey, I need a Thompson iPhone.
One Burdine Intelligent Translator, a Thompson iPhone.
And then people were like, wait, what? And it's in the movie where he says, I need an iPhone.
I had to rewind it like 3 times. I'm like, wait, what? He said iPhone.
He said iPhone in the movie.
In 2016, a group of independent researchers gathered at a salt flat in Bolivia, one of the flattest surfaces on Earth. Their mission, to test something that's rarely questioned, but absolutely foundational. How far can you see before the curve takes it all away? According to the globe model, Earth curves at 8 inches per mile squared. That means objects should disappear from view beyond a certain distance, hidden by the curve. So they set out with lasers, high-zoom cameras, and infrared tech. Their goal wasn't to prove anything, just to measure how far light and sight could travel in open, uninterrupted space. They placed a laser just 3 feet above the surface. According to globe math, it should have been invisible beyond 6 miles, but the beam remained visible at 10 miles, then 15, then over 20. No curvature blocked it. Next, they filmed distant buildings, boats, and islands across large lakes, sometimes 30, 40, even 100 miles away. According to the globe model, these objects should have been hidden behind hundreds of feet of Earth's curve. But the entire structure, base to top, remained visible. No atmospheric bending, no magic refraction, just direct line of sight. And then came the most damning test of all. 2 flags were set up miles apart on a frozen lake, with a third person holding a camera at the same height in the middle. If Earth was curved, the middle flag should have appeared higher due to the curve. But all 3 lined up perfectly, dead flat. Over and over again, from lakes to coastlines, the same result. No curvature. Even over distances that should hide entire skylines, everything stayed in view, right where it should be on a flat plane. These weren't conspiracies. They were measurable, repeatable, real-world distance experiments. No matter how far they tested, the curve never appeared. And the only thing that disappeared was the credibility of the spinning globe theory. Because if Earth had curvature, we would see it. But all we see is flat. Still believe we live on a giant ball? Then explain why nothing ever curves away. Share this video. Tag someone who needs to look again. And follow now, because real science doesn't hide behind theory. It stares you in the face. Across 100 miles of truth, this video is for entertainment purposes.
So did you know about this? Let me tell you something. So apparently, November 2024, this document was leaked, and allegedly, okay, this is all allegedly, on August 12th of 2026, we're gonna lose gravity about 7.3 seconds, is what they say. Now, what I'm gonna read is verbatim from this document, okay? The goal is to survive a 7-second gravitational anomaly on August 12th, 2026 at 14:33 UTC, 7.3 seconds to be exact. And they're expecting 40 to 60 million casualties. Wow. Okay. So what will happen? Well, let me tell you. 1 to 2 seconds, everything not secured will rise. That's people, vehicles, animals. At about 3 to 4 seconds, objects will continue to rise 15 to 20 meters. Okay. 5 to 7 seconds, panic and chaos will ensue as people hit ceilings. Now they have all this down to the seconds. At 7 seconds, gravity returns, everything falls from the height, meaning 40 to 60 million people will succumb to their injuries due to the fall. Some other expected consequences is the infrastructure destruction, economic collapse lasting 10 plus years, and mass panic. The reason, now this is what they say, the intersection of 2 gravitational waves from black holes predicted back in 2019 with a probability of 94.7%. They've known about this for 5 years, okay? So what are they doing about it? Well, they're building underground bunkers, securing essential workers and systems for buildings. And who all do you think is going to have a place down in those bunkers? I don't know about you, but something's going to happen. Now, I don't believe this nonsense, not for a single second. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but if you take a look at the world around us, shit's getting real fast. Okay? Now, I truly believe we're in the end of times and we don't have much time left. So they're scrambling, trying to find whatever reason it is to have an explanation for whatever catastrophic event's going to happen. But come on. Those of us that follow scripture and follow our Father know exactly what's going to go down here very soon. We don't know when, but it's coming. So, what are your thoughts on it? I'm dying to know. What do you think, and what do you think's really happening?
Dude, there is a supermassive black hole that scientists are saying just woke up after being dormant for 100 million years, and it's now blasting jets of plasma across space. Okay, so scientists just caught something absolutely insane that's happening in a galaxy that's called J1007. They're saying that there's a supermassive black hole that's at the center of this galaxy that basically went to sleep about 100 million years ago, and it just stopped doing anything at all, but now it's just randomly back. They're saying that this black hole just erupted like a cosmic volcano. They say that the jets that it's shooting out right now are stretching nearly 1 million light years across space, which is almost 10 times wider than our entire Milky Way galaxy as a whole. Researchers are describing this as watching a cosmic volcano erupt after ages of calm. Hello? And by the way, they're saying that they can actually see the layers of history because there are old faint jets of plasma from an ancient eruption around 240 million years ago, and then there's brand new bright jets from the current outburst. The entire point of this is that this now officially proves that black holes don't just stay active or stay dormant, they cycle on and off over millions of years. We're literally watching one do that right now. Dude, I didn't even know that black holes could go to sleep and then wake back up again.
Either A, it's a massive disinformation campaign, or B, this is reality.
Yeah, there's actually a C.
Yeah.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So we were just touching on the Atlantean archive, and people think of Atlantis, they think of Little Mermaid or whatever, you know what I mean? Like people living underneath the sea with their little pitchforks or whatever. And when you think about what the Atlanteans are, the Atlanteans were like kind of an America type empire, or Greek or Roman-esque empire, but before the cataclysm, before the reset, before the Great Deluge. Now, let's just say this was 13,000 years ago. I know people argue over that, but let's just say 13,000 years ago. Look how far we've come in the last 200 years, you know? We've gone from riding around on horses to we have robots on Mars, okay? In 200 years. Now, think about a human civilization that was already advanced 13,000 years ago. And now think about if they've had unimpeded progress for 13,000 years. They would be indistinguishable from angels, aliens. There's something called a cargo cult. theory, which is basically like when we started landing planes during World War II, we were finding these little bitty Indonesian islands and turning little, fields into landing strips, and we'd land planes there. That's a human landing a plane on Earth. Other humans that live there, indigenous tribes, saw those humans and thought they were gods, devils, demons, aliens, had no way to explain how these people came in this flying metal bird. They started building effigies of airplanes and of control towers. We started giving them cigarettes and candy and stuff because we're weird like that. They started worshiping our airmen as gods. That was a human on Earth and another human on Earth, and the one human couldn't even figure out what the other human was. Now imagine a human from 13,000 years ago that's advanced. So these craft, I have a hard time, even though I believe that there's physical, alien type worlds out there in the cosmos, probably millions of them, with intelligent life. I don't see why there wouldn't be. I have a hard time believing they would come here and just kind of look around, and pass off little nonchalant messages of inspiration. Hey, you shouldn't play with nukes and clean up your environment. That seems bizarre to me. But that's not bizarre if the beings live here and are from here and share an Earth with us, possibly living inside the Earth or whatnot. Of course they don't want us to destroy the place. Of course they would intervene, and they would mess with our nuclear silos, and they would have some sort of a presence here on the surface. They would be interacting, observing, stopping us from doing dumb stuff. That makes a lot of sense. So therefore, those exotic craft and those UFOs and UAPs might not be alien at all.
Yeah.
I think full disclosure will never come because the biggest thing they're trying to cover up is that, and this goes back to the Day After Roswell book from Colonel Corso.
Great book.
Back in the 90s. Yeah, great book. And he spilled the beans back then. He was the OG whistleblower saying that they got this exotic technology and started distributing it to private corporations so that they couldn't be FOIA'd. And those private corporations, say you have Corporation A gets exotic material, Corporation B doesn't. Guess which one's going to go and be $1 trillion business? Well, right? It's not rocket science.
No, it's not
or
difficult.
maybe it is. But you when you disclose all that, now you're disclosing that. And that's criminal activity. That's lawsuit heaven. That's a whole,
So how can they come out now with all of the criminal activity and the lawsuit, the deaths, the unexplainable stuff?
I think that's why it looks so messy. When we're watching this disclosure process, it looks so amateurish.
Yep.
It looks like they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
Because I think that they throw some stuff out there and then they see the reaction and then they're like, okay, that didn't work. Now throw this out there. Oh, that didn't work.
But who is they?
Well, I mean, there's obviously, and I hate to use the word, but there's obviously like a quote unquote deep state. There's a government within the government that's privy to all this stuff that is very, very compartmentalized, that knows what's up because this is not new. I think that these craft that are being donated to us are, like I said, like if you want to call them Nordics or whatever, there seem to be these advanced humans that are still earthbound that still play a role in all this. And they seem to be trying to get us to up to par with them so that they can help more, communicate more, or whatever. Maybe they have nefarious actions. I don't know. Maybe it's both. Maybe there's different factions of them, which if they're humans, probably. When have we ever agreed on everything?
And nefarious might be a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're a deer living in the woods and I want to develop there, I'm going to seem pretty nefarious to you.
Sure.
But that's not the intention.
For example, yeah.
It's all perspective. Absolutely. So I think that is an element. I think there's an advanced ancient human element that plays a role in all this. There's actually a lot of evidence that there's a time travel component to this because when you create anti-gravitic, craft, being that, space and time are intrinsically linked, there's a good chance that when you manipulate gravity, you manipulate time as well, and these things could be capable of time travel. So therefore, maybe there's some sort of a breakaway civilization that, this has all been theorized, but, back in World War II, discovered this stuff and is able to traverse time, and they're playing a role. They're trying to kind of bring together a past timeline and a future timeline, and that's why there's some favoritism, it seems, like where these craft are crashed. It seems to be pretty convenient. Oh, right outside of this Air Force base in the middle of the desert. You know what I mean? It's like this stuff is happening in a way to where it doesn't seem random. It seems orchestrated. It doesn't seem alien to me. Now, this is not to say there's not aliens. Of course there are. But I think most of what we're seeing here, what Rubio's talking about, and a lot of the stuff that's coming out with disclosure is Earth-made, earthbound, but maybe not from this time period. That's where most of the evidence is pointing right now. And that's a lot harder to explain to the public than extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli. I think that's been conditioned. We're used to looking up at the stars and thinking, there's probably some intelligent life out there. we're not used to thinking maybe ancient humans are super advanced and live inside the earth and fly UFOs around and actually manipulate our politics. I think that's a lot harder sell.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. The Bible says the fountains of the deep broke open. It also says he created water above the firmament. There was a layer of water. The Jews have always taught it was a 3-finger thick layer of ice completely surrounding the world like a crystal ball. This is called the rakia. This crystal canopy above the atmosphere. Yes, it was 10 miles up. The air today goes out about 50 miles. So the original Earth, they had a crystal canopy overhead that increased air pressure. If you squeezed all the air today, which goes out, say, 50 miles, squeeze it down to 10 miles. Breathing is easier. Flying is easier because the air is thicker. They find fossils of giant things that fly, like 50-foot pterodactyl. They couldn't fly today. This crystal canopy overhead, if it was 2 or 3 fingers thick, that would block out UV light.
Interesting things that have come about lately. Now, y'all know that they turned on that particle accelerator actually in the weeks leading up to the solar eclipse, but it became maximum capacity the day before the eclipse. So what I'm getting at here is the article above me. This happened in their warm-up for the eclipse. Physicists capture elusive 4D ghost in CERN particle accelerator. Now this article goes on to say there's a specter haunting the tunnels of the particle accelerator at CERN. In the superproton synchrotron, physicists have finally measured and quantified an invisible structure that can divert the course of particles therein and create problems for particle research. Now those last couple of sentences are what get me, because if you have something that can divert the course of particles, that means that every time you have an incalculable response, something that doesn't add up, they can suddenly blame this on the ghost in the machine. Now meet my buddy here, Peter Higgs. Unfortunately, he has passed and God rest his soul. But he was one of 2 scientists, Higgs and Boson, that discovered a particle that they refer to as the God particle, or the Higgs-Boson particle. Now when it comes to this man, he dedicated a lot of his life to locating this, and when they did, it was...
So Candace Owens came out and straight up said she believes her and Charlie Kirk had handlers. This is getting more and more crazy. A lot is being exposed.
I believe, and I'm saying this retrospectively, that from that moment onward, Charlie and I were assigned handlers. Okay, this is an expression that Kanye used to say, have a handler. I thought that he was just saying that. I thought that he was referring to just Hollywood. I now very much believe that I have had handlers since 2018, and that things were done intentionally to pull me and Charlie apart. Now, I'm going to tell you how I remember it in no particular order, okay? I tweeted back at Kanye and I said, please take a meeting with us. And before I could hear directly from Kanye's people, I heard from David Horowitz of the Freedom Center. He's the one that first invited me when I was going viral on YouTube to speak at his conference. You should also know that he is the father to Andreessen Horowitz, the one that Bibi Netanyahu is insisting should, or stepfather to. He wants Andreessen Horowitz to be a part of this group that buys TikTok because, and this is relevant, they think it's important for warfare, psychological warfare in the future. It's relevant. he was very nice in his message to me, said, oh, my son knows Kanye, and I would like to facilitate that meeting. Suddenly they get Eric Weinstein involved, and he reaches out and he pretends that he wants to be a friend to me. He's a bad person, I can tell you that right away. I learned that very quickly, but at the time, Charlie and I, we were pro-Israel. That's, I think, kind of relevant, and we were just so amazed by the tweet that we thought all of these people, like, this was just our moment, as in they really did just want to help. Another player in this was Rick Rubin. Yeah, the big music industry, Rick Rubin, also got into the mix and wanted to facilitate certain meetings. I took it, again, as a sign of help. On the Turning Point USA side, Tyler Boyer, who I could do a whole episode on, it's actually, he's more so relevant that I can't fit him into just one episode. He was with the only person that was with Charlie before. He introduced him to every person that Charlie knows. He starts hiring a bunch of people, telling Charlie that we need to hire bigger and more professional money raisers, PR people like Andrew Colvett, you name it. And it feels like at every moment there were forces that were trying to tell us this is not allowed to happen. Kanye's handlers are telling him, Kanye's got a team of people telling him he's not allowed to be involved in politics. And he's getting angrier and he's getting angrier about that. This is in the time of Kim Kardashian and Kanye. She wanted nothing to do with it, okay? And I've been to their house, and political friends are telling Charlie and I, don't get involved with Kanye because he's crazy. You guys are on a trajectory. Don't speak to Kanye. It's going to backfire in your face. And I'm like, no, we dreamed this. We want him to be a part of Blexit. Like, this is exactly what we wanted. At the exact same time, I felt, and you have heard the story very many times, Charlie has told it, I have told it, out of nowhere, I got this spiritual pull that I needed to go to the UK. Charlie and I had no business in the UK at all. There was no reason for us to go to the UK. There was nothing happening in the UK. I have the messages. I'm like, Charlie, we should go to the UK. I don't know why. I'm getting the vibe. We need to go to the UK. We need to go to the UK. We need to go to the UK. Like, we got to go to London. And we did in the future. But first, dealing with this sort of pressure cooker that kept happening between Kanye, me, Charlie, it was in October, after Kanye had helped me to start designing the logo for Blexit, that Kanye's pressure cooker got too hot. And basically, they told him that he would lose everything, his marriage, this, that, if he didn't abstain from politics after he notoriously went to the White House in the MAGA hat. And he needed to distance from us and, of course, Blexit. And he cracked. I mean, you guys remember this headline. I'm taking you back to 2018. Kanye West distances himself from Blexit and Trump. And he says, I've been used to spread messages. Kanye never wrote this statement, one of his handlers did, but he said, my eyes are now wide open and I now realize that I've been used to spread messages that I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative. Now, that was not the most honest interpretation of things, and I reflect on it, and I'm so grateful that I called Mike Cernovich and I said, like, why is Kanye doing this? Why is he saying this? I have pictures of him standing over the guy, directing him on what he thought was cool with the logo. Like, should I drop them? And Cernovich gave me really sound advice and said, don't. You have no idea what he's going through. And I'm grateful to Cernovich.
2 stories about people that have taken salvia. Truly nightmare fuel. In this college, this guy smoked some salvia, laid back, and all of a sudden he woke up, but he was a child, and he lived his entire life. He was a child, teenager, went through everything, got married, had kids, grew old, became a grandparent, had to bury his wife, and then died of old age, basically, and then woke up, and it broke his mind. And he was weeping because he's like, that life wasn't real. I had kids that I loved. This next story, I would say is even scarier. This guy, also college age, smoked salvia, and all of a sudden he was like basically transported to where he was standing on the side of the road, and he was just standing there. Then all of a sudden he turned into a stone pillar, and he was a milestone, like a mile marker stone for 300 years. And he said he watched the forest change. He watched a horse and buggy, and eventually turned into cars and a highway. And then after 300 years, a construction crew came and tore him down, and he woke up.
Bro, you go and try to get stoned, you become one.
Now, how many of you know about the object in Greenland? A couple of you, okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, there is a spacecraft that has melted out of the ice in Greenland. As you know, the North Pole has melted completely. You can go from London to Moscow or to Russia by going over the North Pole now. All the ice cap is gone. The last place that has ice on it was Greenland. Greenland had a 18,000-foot ice cap on it. Well, the spacecraft that is anchored in the center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago. It's a weather machine. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. The people that lived in it were called the Mois.
If you draw a straight line from the spacecraft to the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., through the Yucatan Peninsula Great Pyramid at Mitsubishi, it ends up on Easter Island where the moais have been dug out of this dirt. The heads on Easter Island, well, 2 years ago they finally went ahead and they excavated, and they're all 65 to 85 foot people, full body carvings. And these were the people that lived in the spacecraft that was uncovered, that's melting out of the ice in Greenland. So when you think we've been alone, these people have been up there for 50,000 years. The spacecraft is still active after 50,000 years. It has a 200-mile dampening field where no electrons can flow into it. In 1947, a B-52 bomber flew into that pattern, into the dampening field, when trying to fly between Maine and London. As a result of that, they lost power and crashed in Greenland. As they sent in rescue B-52 bombers to rescue them, they hit that same dampening field, but they veered off. They just ricocheted off of it. And by testing, trying to get to these guys, they were able to bring a circumference and find out that there was an object 200 miles to the center of this field. On the southwest corner of Greenland, there is a small community. It's the only community on the island of Greenland. That community is a military post, CIA, that uses a compressed air generator to operate diesel engines to run a Caterpillar to run back and forth to 200 miles from the base to the object in Greenland. A lot of our technology comes from the reverse engineering out of the spacecraft. It is still functional and is still in operation. So it's pretty important what this thing is. All the nations worldwide are up there with the United Nations, and they're all acting, working together. Point is.
So, super fast. Standing here in front of Southwest Key Programs Casa Padre, and this is a former Walmart that has been turned into a center for children. So, behind those doors inside that Walmart are apparently many hundreds of children. I don't know how many, but why are they there?
Lisa Haven here. What you just saw was Senator Jeff Merkley attempting to enter a detention facility, also known as a Walmart, that has been converted into a detention facility, where he attempts to go in and enter there in Brownsville, Texas, to check out the state of the hundreds of children that are inside that building in cages. Now, before I get to the rest of the story, I want to share with you a few details. On my channel and multiple other channels, we've talked numerous times about how they are converting the Walmarts to FEMA camp. Back in 2010 and 2014, when we reported on this, we were just labeled conspiracy theorists and told that they just had plumbing issues. As you can see on this map of Walmart, these are various Walmarts that have closed in different areas, but they were all claimed at the time due to plumbing issues, when in reality, they formed a marriage with Homeland Security. And yet again, here we have conspiracy theorists proven right. These facilities are being used to house immigrant children, and it comes up time and time again, and Walmart is in bed with Homeland Security. But back to the Jeff Merkel story so you get an overall idea. Well, as you know, he attempted to go into this Walmart, and access was denied ultimately. When you go to his Twitter page, here's what he tweeted about recently, and he says, "I was barred entry, asked repeatedly to speak to the supervisor. He finally came out and said he can't tell us anything, and the police were then called on them." Then he goes on to state that children should never be ripped from their families and held in secret detention centers. RT, if you agree, this is wrong. Now here's the actual footage of him being denied access.
Hello, yes, can I go in with you, please?
No, sir, you cannot go in with me.
Oh.
You cannot be here for private property.
And let me introduce myself. I'm Senator Jeff Merkley from Congress. And my team contacted this facility and asked for permission for me to come and see what is going on inside with these children.
Well, we don't have any permission on that, so I'm going to have to please ask you to step away, sir.
Talking at the same time.
But like I said, I'm not going to give a statement right now. I already gave you guys
No, not a statement. I just wanted you to explain the new set of children.
They'll be able to provide you the information.
Who was the person that you spoke with that agreed to that?
The young lady who answered the phone when I called this number and said the supervisor would come out and talk with us.
Okay.
Now let's take this just a step further. Please keep in mind that while this footage happened recently, pictures of inside Walmarts have been leaking since 2014. Here's a few images from the Nogales Center that were leaked back in 20.
Switch people out. And he does it right in front of them. And he says like, yo, bro, like, I'll switch your wife out and I'll put another one of your wife inside of her body. And they're walking around and you think that's your wife and it's not your wife. This is what's going on. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer spiritual. We figured out how to, turn into spirit and exchange the soul in order to control the vessel. So if I have the vessel and I'm just nothing but spirit, I can ruin your life. That's what everybody has been going through. So they can't recognize it unless you say things like the switch. So when they watch that and they see that there's other people that can identify other than me, it's not just me playing games. It's the truth. We have to be careful with who we want. You'll be in the car with Paul, man, but you're really in the car with Peter. But that's Paul's body. But why is Peter in Paul's body? You know, I've been going through this for a while in order to figure out and identify every soul inside of every vessel.
And body jumping from body to body. When the body wears out, jumping to the next body. Through eye transfer. So they'll take the point of death of the person. They'll draw the energy from the eyes and then to take the soul comes out through the eyes, and then you can go in through the eyes
of a child.
Yes,
and replace the
switch
soul.
it up. Yeah, and keep that one. Yeah. The awareness level also stays. The awareness level stays. So she would not lose her memories like we do. When we go through our cycle, we have amnesia.
So she remembers everything from 7,000 years.
Yes.
Just wait till you find out who really runs the world.
When y'all find out who really running this world down here, y'all are going to crash out, because the people who are spiritually awoke, we know what's really going on. And when y'all find out that a lot of these people that's in these higher up positions are not even human, baby, y'all gonna crash out, because our world have been so programmed to believe that everything that we see with our eyes
run the world.
is the truth, but it's far from it.
Just wait till you find out who really runs the world.
When y'all find out who really running this world down here, y'all are going to crash out, because the people who are spiritually awoke, we know what's really going on. And when y'all find out that a lot of these people that's in these higher up positions are not even human, baby, y'all gonna crash out, because our world have been so programmed to believe that everything that we see with our eyes
run the world.
is the truth, but it's far from it.
Just wait till you find out who really runs the world.
When y'all
actually things that are real to us but are different in other realities, it is a consistent fluctuation, and I think this fluctuation is known as Mandela effect.
This was happening in 2016. Shortly after this video went viral, the genius kid disappeared. No updates, no interviews, nothing. For years, the internet searched for answers. What happened to Max Lowen, the kid who said CERN broke reality? What you're about to hear next will change how you see everything. Just keep in mind, in 2008, CERN launched the Large Hadron Collider, and in 2009, people started noticing something strange. Memories that didn't match reality.
What happened was we made this universe sort of out of balance, and our universe...
Because of the collider, the super collider?
Yeah, we altered the weight of a single electron, which I believe shifted us into a parallel universe. This is our original timeline, right? But as soon as this starts, we are infinitely catapulted into an infinite number of parallel universes.
In 2008, scientists at CERN launched the Large Hadron Collider, the most powerful particle accelerator ever built. It smashes atoms together at almost the speed of light, searching for the fundamental code of the universe. Some physicists even warned it could open microscopic black holes or distort space-time itself. And then, barely a year later, something even stranger happened. Thousands of people began remembering Nelson Mandela, dying in prison in the 1980s, but he actually died in 2013. Entire groups shared the same false memory. Soon after, a large segment of the population started noticing the same thing. Logos, movie lines, and even historical events remembered differently than they actually were.
The original universe is Mirror, Mirror on the Wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Transferred to universe is Magic Mirror on the Wall.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all?
So we are now not in the same universe that we were in when Mirror, Mirror on the Wall was a part of a film.
Well, that's what I'm theorizing, yeah.
So we're in a different universe.
Exactly. Infinite number of zeros, 1% difference.
Right.
And that 1% difference is large on our scale.
After this video, Max appeared again, this time giving a presentation where he talked about a device he had built.
Everything is just a frequency of energy. All of the energy in the universe is already here. It just needs to be transferred into a form in which you can use it. I had finished creating a device that takes wasted electromagnetic energy from all around us and converts it into electrical. Voila! Free energy.
Well, this is a sensitive topic. Free energy. I don't know if Max's device actually worked or not, but I do know one thing. After years of research for this channel, I've come across countless stories of people who claim to invent similar zero-point or free energy devices. And almost every time, they were ridiculed, silenced, or simply disappeared from the public eye. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Just think about it. A working device like this could threaten entire industries overnight. After all this came silence. For the next 3 years, Max went completely quiet. So did his family. Nothing was posted on social media until April 22nd, 2020, when a message suddenly appeared on Max's Facebook page. I like to build things. I want to change the world and make it a better place. I also hope to inspire. I searched all over the internet, and Max is alive. Thank God. But even so, that long silence is hard to ignore. Maybe he said something that wasn't supposed to be public. Let's take a closer look at what he actually said in that video, because it's surprisingly interesting.
Universes and infinite parallel universes constantly being created is literally flow of reality and time as we know it. So, technically, there's a universe in which God can exist, right? So, like, as your book suggests, God is everything because of E equals MC squared. Literally, God is within and can be everything.
What Max was describing here sounds complex, but in simple terms, he believed reality is not fixed. Instead, new versions of the universe are created every second, branching out from every possible event or decision. It's similar to what David Deutsch, a leading quantum physicist from Oxford, has argued for decades, that quantum mechanics naturally leads to the idea of parallel universes, all existing side by side. In one universe, you're watching this video. In another, maybe you click something else. Max takes that same idea and pushes it even further, suggesting that these universes are not just possible, but constantly being born as time flows forward. In his view, each vibration, each particle movement spins off an entirely new timeline.
As every electron spins, we are infinitely catapulted into an infinite number of parallel universes. And somewhere infinity down the line, here's our universe, right? And then we're constantly shifting into alternate universes as we speak.
In other words, reality isn't a single movie playing from start to finish. It's millions of versions of the same movie, all happening at once. This isn't far from ideas explored by Michael Talbot, author of The Holographic Universe, who suggested that our reality could be a projection, where every piece contains the whole and infinite variations can exist simultaneously. Max also touches on the paradox of infinity, saying that even infinity can have levels. That's actually a real concept in mathematics, known as Aleph Null, used by Georg Cantor to describe different sizes of infinity. It might sound abstract, but what Max was trying to express is that our universe might be infinite, yet still exist inside a larger infinite structure.
Imagine it like this, right? there's one line, and then a fraction closer, and a fraction smaller is the next line. And then a fraction closer and a fraction smaller is the next line, so on, so on, so on. Till eventually we get this sort of thing. It's a little bit like this. Now, that's infinity in a confined space because there's nothing here or here, because this is still there. But what happens when you add a line here? Now, that is actually still infinity, because it's still in the same place, but it's not in a confined space, you may say.
He was only 13, yet somehow describing the same mathematical paradoxes physicists and philosophers have debated for over a century.
And considering that there is an infinite number of vibrations and therefore an infinite number of realities within our dimensional space, or I guess altered-dimensional space, considering that they're either higher or lower, still in the same confined space, there is an infinite number of parallel realities with an infinite number of parallel dimensions that actually can create a powerful or less powerful form of God equals MC squared as we know it.
He describes a structure where many universes exist side by side, all slightly different from ours. Each small event creates another version of reality. This idea matches the many worlds interpretation first proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in the 1950s. According to this theory, the universe doesn't collapse into one outcome. It splits into all of them. What we call reality is just the version we happen to observe.
You see, we were moving relative to our universe, and then our universe destroyed, so now the universe started to move, or I guess our parallel universes, our multiverse started to move parallel to us because we were out of alignment and just destroyed everything. So technically, the universe didn't change, we did.
He talks about infinite versions of the universe, some nearly identical, others completely different. This view also appears in the work of Itzhak Bentov and Michael Talbot, who both suggested that everything in existence is connected through vibration and energy. If reality is built from frequencies, then consciousness could be part of the same system, not separate from it. What we perceive as one universe might just be one frequency among infinite others.